not anything. So you're back to me, Wesley. You want to see your there a second?
Oh, right. Anyway, so that's here right there. Mm-hmm. Oh, so you got it.
Big shot. I see you, big shot.
Got the camera and stuff now, huh?
Yes.
You were looking like, what is over there?
Good evening. You are listening to Open Wide with Neeuq on WMSK Online Radio. Tonight we're going to have a hot topic. If marriages fail % of the time, why do we keep getting in them? As usual, I have my handsome co-host, Mr. Wesley Hawkins from the Neeuq Project. I always give him an opportunity to shout out his organization so that you can support this young man in his efforts to change things in the lives of inner city youth. Mr. Hawkins.
Good evening, world. Again, I come to you for open mind, open heart, and humble heart. This is Wesley Hawkins from the Neeuq Project, which is a mentorship program here based in Baltimore, but we also do work in D.C. Our focus is college readiness, entrepreneurship, life skills, character building, and a bunch of other things. So we go around and assist the schools and people in the community and stuff like that. If you would like to reach out, have your child tutored, or just someone to talk to, you can call 424-653-7663. Ask for Wesley Hawkins, which is the president, or you can email us at the Neeuq Project, THENOLITAPROJECTINC at gmail.com. And last but not least, you can go on our website at www.dearnolita.org. So that's dearnolita.org.
All right. So as always, make sure you're reaching out to him. If you have any needs for inner city youth, if they have any volunteer opportunities, make sure you're giving back to your community in any kind of way that you can. So tonight we're going to continue our relationship session that we have going on for the last few weeks. Tonight we're going to talk about millennials. That is not a group that I claim, but I'm like on the fence. I'm more so a millennial because in 1980, I'm at the end of the year. So I don't know why, but a lot of people don't want to claim that group. I don't know. But tonight we're talking about why, if relationships fail, especially marriages, why do we continue to do it? Over the last few weeks, we talked about why females seem to reject monogamy a lot of times. And it came from a discussion that Wesley and I had in reference to his attempting to find that perfect woman. So perfect is an adjective that we'll probably never get to, but in that 500,000, you have to have some of the greatest attributes that any one person could possess. So let's talk about a few of the numbers. Today I did some research trying to figure out where exactly we are when we're talking about marriage and things like that. So let me get a few of the preliminary things out of the way. So WMSK Online Radio is the home of the Cheryl Underwood Morning Show. Make sure you're checking us out. We have shows going on every day of the week, a lot of different topics. The CEO, Ms. Tia Hamilton, she also has a magazine that drops, State versus Us magazine. So make sure you're looking out for that. Make sure you're supporting anything that's happening in your community. So now, with all of that out of the way, so if we look at some of the numbers, in 2016, there were 2,245,404 marriages. So that's about 6.9% per 100,000. So about 7 people on 1,000 people are getting married. However, in 2016, there was also 827,261 divorces, which is about 3.2 per 1,000 people. So as you see, that's half of the people who are getting married are getting divorced. Wesley, did you want to add anything as to why you think that is before we get into the stats?
Um, I think it's a lot that goes into why half percentages of marriages are ending in divorce. I think because a lot has to do with people not learning each other
Mm-hmm.
first before they get married. I think a lot of people live in life saying they can't be by themselves or they don't know how to deal with being alone or not being with someone because other people have someone.
Mm-hmm.
So they are jumping in these relationships just to say you have somebody.
All right. In the article, there was a 2013 poll that asked why do people get married? Surprisingly, 88% said it was for love. So I don't see any other reason for getting into these situations other than love. So that was good. So 88% did it for that. 81% said that they wanted to have a lifelong commitment. Are you? So they wanted to have a lifelong commitment. So that's 81%. 76% decided that they were going to get married to have that companionship. So we have a great percentage of people who are getting married because they want to have somebody, they love somebody. 49% of people did it for children. So I'm not sure if that's, they wanted to have children or it was because of the children that they decided that they were going to get married. 28% were there for financial stability.
Mm-hmm.
And right above that, it was to have a relationship that was recognized by religion. And that was about 30% of people. Um, Legal rights and benefits was 23%. So that is why people get married. The number one reason being love at 88%, and legal rights and benefits being 23%.
But I feel like that's the reason why a lot of these relationships are ending in divorce. These marriages, I'm sorry, because of it's outside reasons other than you genuinely love this person. It's too much going into it. As far as you marry somebody for financial stability, but you don't actually love that man or that woman. You marrying that person because of what they can provide for you or the lifestyle that comes with being with that person. Or, you might have had sex. I've heard women say, they was dealing with somebody that had a child by him, so they end up just being with him because they had kids by him. But that doesn't mean she was in love with that man. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean she even wanted those children with him, but now she has children with him, and then now she feels like, oh shucks, I already got kids by him, I might as well go ahead and, just be with him. But I want to get some, insight from our brother. So I'm going to pause on that for a second. We have an awesome guest in the building. Mr. Elijah Miles from the Tendea family. And I'm going to let him speak and address what today is for a second, and then we want to get to the questions because he has a awesome mind and heart, and I want to see what he feel about this topic. So go ahead, Mr. Miles.
Hey, thanks for having me. Neeuq. Thanks for having me too. My name is Elijah Miles. I'm a part of an organization called Today Family, and what Today is an organization in Baltimore City with primarily young people, and we focus on the simple way to say it is we focus on changing Baltimore City. But the how we want to change Baltimore City is not through like political activism or marching or passing laws. What we want to do is build economic institutions so that we're able to employ our own people, primarily black people that's in these impoverished neighborhoods. We also want to build schools. We want to build other institutions so that we can put our people in a better place than what we found them. So that's the long and short of what we do. But how that shows itself week by week is we do a study class. Right now we read in Clark Anderson's Polynomics. We read Miseducation of the Negro. We read Amos Wilson books. We do community cleanups every week. We pull in our money every week. We sell clothes, we do smoothies, and soon enough, by the end of the summer, we should have our first business, like storefront, the fruit creamery set up that's going to sell smoothies. So we basically just try to put in work so that we can put our people in a better place. So not just talk about unity, not just talk about what needs to be done, we actually try to do it. So that's the
Absolutely amazing. So how can people find you?
We on Facebook, we on Instagram, and we in the process of building a website to house everything that we do. But if you wanted to find us on Instagram, it's at Tendea Family, TENDEA Family, all one word. On Facebook, it's Tendea Family, same thing. You can find my personal page on Facebook, Elijah Miles, ELIJH space MILES. But that's where we at. And you can definitely check out what we're doing. We post videos not so that we can get a lot of accolades, but so that the community can be engaged and be able to inspire some people to get out there and do something awesome.
That's excellent.
Awesome. So I actually just did some work with Tendea, the No Leader Project and Tendea Family. We was out on Bel Air Road and East North Avenue, actually doing the community cleaning up a bunch of trash and engaging with the community. And it was an awesome experience because a lot of people that was out there, we got to meet them and talk to them face to face and speak to them, and they wanted to know why we was doing it, what was the organization we were from, and exposing to them like our real raw life story. And I had women that on there crying, telling me like we inspired them because what we doing. They were saying they was like, yeah, we get high, we strung out and we do drugs and stuff, but so many people don't care about us. So many people overlook us. So many people don't care about the struggle we're going through. So I basically told them like, look, my mother was on drugs and died from drugs, so I understand your pain and your hurt and your struggle. Mr. Miles can relate to a lot of those things as well. So we connected with those individuals. So it was an awesome experience, and we're going to continue to do it every Saturday in the mornings. What time?
Every Saturday, 9 to 11. Right now, we are consistently on Bel Air North Avenue. If you meet us on the corner, we get a prayer and we just clean up and engage with people. Eventually, it might be somewhere else, but right now we want to consistently focus on that neighborhood because there's a lot of people that overlook that place because it is a high drug infested neighborhood. There's not a lot of businesses, and so people just avoid that space. But we out there engaging with people.
That's excellent. Excellent. So how old are you, Eli?
23. I just turned 23. I'm Gemini. June 7th. Yeah.
Well, happy birthday.
Awesome young brother, man.
I see.
Awesome. When I first met the young brother, I was it brought a sense of joy to me because being out in the community and seeing a lot of our young brothers not being inspired and not partaking in positive activities, not partaking in uplifting the community. If you sit down with this brother, it's lines, he will tell you read and he's into certain things. So that kind of inspired me more. Like, wow, man, like it is some hope out here. And then he got this lady, she involved with him and stuff, and I'm like, man, that's awesome. So, bright young man. I need to follow him and check him out. But let's get into this question because I know he got some good input on that. Even though he's only 23, he got some awesome input on that. And I can see within his life of how he moved and walked with his woman already, how they are together and how they do things. So can we give him the question again?
So we really didn't get into the question yet. But my question is if marriages are ending 60% of the time, why are we still entertaining that thought?
What, marriage?
Yes.
The idea of marriage? I think even taking it away from a religious aspect, I still think marriage is a beautiful thing with you in front of the community, in front of the creator, if you believe in the creator, in front of your ancestors, in front of everybody, committing to somebody else and saying, we're going to do this joint. You deaf do us part. And we're going to do this joint whether you get sick, whether you die. I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think we need that. And I think when it comes to the black community, men and women, all right, so when you look at a community in general, the lowest form of the community is the family. But smaller than the family is the relationship between primarily men and women. And so we're not building strong relationships between men and women, lifelong relationships. Then how can we build strong families? And if we can't build strong families, we can't build a strong black community because the community is just a compilation of families. And primarily when you look inside our community, it's broken families. And so when it comes to marriage, it's a good thing because the men and women need to commit to something. And commit to something, not for a day, not for a year, but forever. When you commit to a woman and you say, man, even if you get Alzheimer's, and you don't remember who I am, I'm with you. We need that type of commitment. And if we can't make those types of commitments, then we can't make commitments to children. We can't make commitments to our family members. And so when you look inside the Black community, we throw each other away, whether it be cousins you ain't talked to for 20 years, whether it be your mother that, you know what I mean, did something to you when you was younger, you can't let it go, can't forgive her. We throw each other away too much. And so when it comes to unity, when people say Black community come together, that's the truth. But if you want to start somewhere, the first thing you can do is commit to another Black mate. And not just for a day to say, I'm going to commit to you, even though you're going through stuff, even though you're not perfect. I'm not perfect either. And we hope to get better and better and better together.
See, me personally, I respect that response and that understanding because I feel like you said, those relationships and those commitments, a lot of things that's going on in our community, it started at home.
That's right.
But the problem is a lot of our homes are already broken. So, when you got your kids growing up seeing you as a man sleeping with a bunch of women, mistreating women, abusing women, neglecting home, not working, not, grinding, not getting up here and doing, the hard work that it takes that I feel like a man should be doing. I know people have different definitions of what a man is, but in my definition, I feel like a man's supposed to be a protector. He's supposed to be a provider. He's supposed to be, that man that takes care of home and makes sure everything is taken care of. No matter what's going on, if breath is still in my lungs and if my body can function and move, I'm going to make sure I get out here to do something to provide for my family. And I feel like we are missing those elements in the home. So what you miss in the first basis of elements, then now your whole community struggles from that. So I, just like what you kind of just touched on, I believe in that as well. I feel like, your home base got to be taken care of. And then, as a community, we move along from that. That's why even when you tie it into everything else, they say it starts at home. And that's, one of the number one reasons why I feel like our communities are so broken and devastated because our homes are broken and devastated. We have so many men incarcerated. We have so many men dying. We have so many, children that don't have their father. We have so many men and women just sleeping around doing whatever. And they have all these different families spread out, and it's not a judgmental thing. But if you will sit down and actually talk to these kids and if they will open up to you, a lot of these children are actually bothered that, oh, my mother and father aren't together, or my mother is with this other man or another man, or my dad got this other woman and my mom is single. Like, I have relationships with kids where they pull me to the side and tell me the things that bother them. And you can't imagine a young boy or a young girl calling you up telling you that it bothers them that their father has a whole nother family that he's with. And the mother is single and she's home taking care of everything else. So people don't understand how something like that can have a child being frustrated or angry or feeling depressed or down or hurt or devastated that maybe he lives with his mother on a day-to-day basis, right? But he sees his mother doing all the work at home and she's single, she's alone, and she's, taking the brunt of the responsibility. And then every time he may go visit his pop with a whole different person and taking care of her kids. What if he don't even have kids? I've had kids tell me this, like, he didn't even take care of me and with me, and he taking care of her children. So I'm not saying you have to stay together for that reason, but I'm saying I understand when people do get, married for stuff like that, because kids do get affected by stuff like that, regardless if we, realize it or not. So I think that's one of the, the reasons why people get married as well.
Absolutely. So a few things, just touching on, some of the things that you said. So, if you aren't aware, the LGBT community is very near and dear to me. So, in this discussion so far, you said that everything has to be a man and a woman. What about the people who are outside of that dynamic? Because I don't feel like it has to be just a man and a woman. Because you can have very strong family and community outside of that family dynamic.
For me, I would say primarily for me, you know what I mean? I have a brother, well, he's not my brother no more. He's transgender, And
So you have a sister.
yeah, sister. So I don't speak for LBGTQ because not because you know what I mean. It's because I think they speak for themselves. So I speak from a standpoint where I understand it would be the equivalent. Me doing that would be the equivalent of a white person speaking for the black struggle. So I don't touch it necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I just think it's not my place to say anything on it. So I focus on primarily the orientation that I am, because to speak on that other side is convoluted and it's issues that I probably don't even understand. So me being a male that's straight, I speak from that standpoint because that's the only thing I even am beginning to understand.
Understand, right?
At the beginning, I'm only 23. What the heck do I know? So
Understand what he's saying about, kind of not addressing it. I'm just a little more braver, and not even braver. I'm just a little more outspoken, but I address it as well because, like he said, I don't. It's not something that I relate to or understand, and I think sometimes people say I come off offensive, and I'm not trying to come off offensively. I just don't understand. You know what I'm
So
saying?
so just because you don't understand it, staying away from it doesn't make it go away.
No, I'm not staying away from it.
I think, like my opinion, I think, all right. So we live in America, but I believe it's an over opinionated country, and they encourage your opinion matter, your voice matter. I don't necessarily agree with that. I agree that some people shouldn't use their voice to talk about everything because you're not qualified. You're not qualified to talk about everything. So I may have an opinion about it, but what is my opinion worth? So I focus on things like ours. The things that I talk about, I've studied, I've read, I've interviewed, I've done research. Like things that I don't know about, I don't feel like Elijah. I feel like it would be arrogant of me to speak on it as if I know. But what I will say is this: that if you have chosen a lifestyle or a lifestyle has chosen you where you are lesbian or gay or whatever, if you're going to make a commitment to somebody, I do believe still in lifelong commitments. Even when it comes to friendships, I believe in lifelong commitments that when you have a friend or a best friend, you're going to go through things, there's going to be ups and downs, but you need to make a bond that say, yo, I'm with you. With the ups, with the downs, I'm not going to leave you, I'm not going to run for you, and I think black people need to owe each other that on all levels of relationships, on relationships in general, you know what I mean? Which goes for that too.
I respect that.
I understand that. But just know and understand, and you're 23-year-old, being Wesley's 32-year-old being, that all people are part of this community, right? So, when we look at these situations, a lot of times, so basically the whole purpose of having a show is to talk about things that people generally don't talk about. And so sometimes, a lot of people hold that same position and they're like, oh, I'm not really going to touch it because I don't know enough. And a lot of times, and that's how I think and feel about religion. When I was practicing whatever, I studied what I wanted to study, not understanding that there was a whole lot more out there that I needed to study to say that I fully understand what it is that I thought I understood about religion. So at this point in my life, when I don't practice anything, I don't study anything. And the reason behind that is I don't have the time and the willingness to go out and learn all it is that I need to learn. So I don't practice anything. And and I don't down people for their choices and their beliefs because it is just that. It's your belief. It's what you choose to believe in. So, again, I don't try to cross those boundaries, but I do understand that those people are part of the community and things like that.
But sometimes I think the reason why also it's one of the reasons why people don't like to address things. If you don't necessarily agree And if you're speaking on something and you have a stage or platform or a mic in front of you and you're speaking on something and you're not agreeing, people kind of tend to kind of like jump on you and want to fry you alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, anytime I've seen people speak on not understanding or agreeing with the LGBTQ community, they have been fried. And I don't necessarily think that's fair because if you are, a straight man or woman and you don't agree with that lifestyle and you are asked a question, I'm not saying just jump out there and be going, but if they ask any of these actors or singers or rappers or players a question about it and they give their honest opinion or response, that person then gets like all this hate mail, people like jumping on their back, attacking them, going at them. They getting a bunch of they losing endorsements and stuff like that. So I think that's why a lot of people shy away from speaking on it publicly. They'll speak on it behind closed doors with their native friends or community, but speaking on it publicly can drag on there. Sometimes end your career if you're in a certain field. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do think that's why some people don't speak on it.
It's another thing. I'm not being ignorant or anything like that, but studying, like, because I study a lot of just Black history in general. In studying Black history, what I understand is that Farrakhan made a statement about Jews in like 1980 something, and they still bring that statement up today. So there's a lot of questions, some questions that I just won't answer because. And I'm not saying it's one of them, but it's a lot of questions that I just won't answer because I think it can overshadow
all the great things.
The things that I really believe. Because somebody could say, yo, what you think about the church, the Black church? I won't answer that question because I can go into like what I think about the Bible or something like that. But what's really important is what you think about these Black kids getting killed every day. Do you agree that we need Black businesses? Do you agree that Black people need to employ themselves? Do you agree that the school system is not working and that we need to build our own schools? Those are the things I don't want to talk about because, like you said, when you get into every opinion, I don't care about every one of my opinions really. Like whether your favorite color is blue or red, I don't care about every one of my opinions. Whether you this or that, I care if you agree about these core things that affects the survival and the prosperity of our people. And I think when we get into those things overshadow the real things. And I think media in particular, not you, but media, big media, they focus on those things with to derail your message. So now people say Farrakhan is an anti-Semite, Farrakhan is this, Farrakhan is that. I have looking at their struggles, looking at Malcolm's struggles, looking at Martin's struggles. I say, man, if asked that question, I just won't answer it. You know what I mean? Because it's not important enough. What's important for real is the survival of our people. And those questions, I may be like Umar Johnson answers every question. I'd be like, you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Just don't answer certain questions.
And you get fried.
You get fried. But I think it's an ego in people that is something in that though. Like the media do what they do. They do what they do. But it's an ego when you like, I stand 100,000% behind every opinion I have. No, I don't stand 100,000% about every opinion I have. I have some opinions that is just for me, and I'm still figuring out. And it's some things that I do stand doing that I'm willing to die for. And those are the ones I want, you know what I mean, to put out there. And other ones, it's just not that important, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, I can respect that. But, when I'm thinking of community, I'm thinking of ways to be less exclusionary. And I think a lot of times that's where we're losing a lot of people because we're excluding so many, so many groups when we do that.
And because right now you think groups are, look, it's only one group. When we're using the word exclusion, I think that's still on the racial side. But when we talk about LGBTQ, I don't think they're no longer excluded from anything.
I think so, because even in your explanation of community, even when you're talking about the Black community, we are still part of that community.
No, I'm not. I don't think he was excluded. I think he was kind of speaking on what he think or feel maybe would affect. Because I have an understanding of what a family structure is. I'm not excluding those people. Like he said, about his brother a few minutes ago. My aunt, I'm sorry, his sister. My my aunt, has been with her wife for over 20 years now. And she comes to every family gathering and cookout and and they call her aunt such and such. Nobody excludes her. She's a part of the family. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I think on a sense of, if you have a set of goals and morals in your mind or in your heart, that's what you live by. And I can't tell somebody else mind or morals that they are wrong. They just not what I believe. And I think but I don't think that's exclusion. You can't exclude people who are going to walk through the same door you're going to walk through. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm working for an organization or a company and the president is a homosexual man, he's already in the door. I can't exclude him from the organization. He's the president. You know what I'm saying? But I don't believe in what he believes. That's just like if one person is Jewish and one person is Christian. Both people can walk through the same door.
We're going to talk about that actually in a little bit. So I read an article today that talked about how millennials are refusing to be married.
Mm-hmm.
So millennials are those born between 1980 and 1995. So a lot of this stuff that I saw, marriage rates in general are going down. So we know that. And people are starting to get married a lot later in life, which I can kind of understand, because what do you know between the ages of 18 and 24? And again, when we impose this social control of marriage on people, we think that they have to do it as soon as they can make adult decisions. And we all know how that goes. You really don't know anything about yourself when you're 18 years old. You know nothing. Let you tell it, you know everything. But age at first marriage in 1960 was about 20 years old for women and 23 for men. In 2017, women are 27 and men are 29.
Well, I think, a lot of people want to travel and see the world. People living and having fun. People exploring. People, living life. It's like, I think people started to look at getting married slows you down, which in some sense it does. Getting married and having kids at 20 or 21 and all that, yeah, you slow down. You don't have that same freedom or, window of opportunity to do so many things that you want to do. Some people might settle down in certain careers and jobs because, oh man, I'm married now, so I can't chase my dream or whatever my dream or passion was. I can no longer chase that or go after that, so I'm going to get married. Or, I got kids with this man and woman, so I'm going to get married. But I think, like you used the term millennials. Millennials are wanting to explore and do more and live life a little longer before they tie themselves down. And they also exploring more partners. In my personal opinion, they are exploring way more partners than what, they explored way more partners than they did.
And do you think that's okay?
I don't agree.
Not me, but again, I can't, come down on their lifestyle, but I don't think that's okay.
This year, when you were 18 and 24.
When I was 18 and 24,
before you had this revelation.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But I feel like I was lost back then. So if you want to pull the 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old Wesley, I feel like I was lost. I was doing a lot of things that I wouldn't do. And that's why, when I met Elijah, he sparked more in my mind because he's 23 years old that has a lot of understanding and figure some stuff out, even though he's still learning. I wasn't where he's at mentally when I was his age. I was still out in the street with a lot of women. I was, selling drugs. I was just doing a lot of things that wasn't positive in our community. It took me to get a little older to realize I was damaging my own people. How can I say I want better for my family, myself, my community, the women around me, but I'm a part of the problem as a man? How can I be an example for my other brothers and sisters and community when I'm part of the problem? I didn't realize that until I was about 27. I'm 32, so I've been on this, this span for about 6 strong years now of, where I'm at mentally. But back then, no, man, I had 5, 6, 7 different women. I wanted to lay with everything I saw that looked nice with a tail and breasts and cute smile. In my workplace, I wanted to lay up with everybody. Going to class, I wanted to lay up with everybody. So I'm just being real. And people that work with me, they know that. If we gonna go back to when I used to work in the system, yeah, I wanted to lay with all of them, and all of them wanted to lay with me, and we was all laying with each other. It was a big little crab bucket. Everybody just laying on each other. Honestly, like everybody was just laying on each other. But now I don't necessarily agree with that same lifestyle, and I don't necessarily promote that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not who I am anymore. I don't promote sleeping with a bunch of women. I know how vagina feels. And I feel like if me and my woman have a certain relationship, we can learn how to please each other. I don't need to go through 30 or 50 different women to learn different vaginas and be like, no, I don't need that. When I was younger, I thought that was cool. I'm going to knock everything down walking. But now mentally, I feel like if you grow with that woman, and I've said this before, if you grow with that woman and you learn, if you learn her body, this is me. If you learn your woman's body, you should be able to please her, and she should be able to please you. That's when you committed and you invested in a person. You should be able to know what they like. If she wants you to blow on her butthole or suck her toes, that's what she likes. Period. But you shouldn't have to go through 100 people to figure these things out. So I don't agree with all that. What do you feel? E?
I think, and when you look at the millennial age, that span you just named, first let me say, I don't think that they're trying a lot of partners. I think they having sex with a lot of people. I don't think they're not being with people with the goal of being with people. They're being with people with the goal of with pleasure, with lust, with I'm living my best life and doing it with human beings. You know what I'm saying? I think objects are to be used, not people, in no way, shape, or form. I think to treat someone as an object for your pleasure, even if they agree to it, is wrong. I think it's wrong. I think the human being is precious, and I think we should always treat each other preciously. But like I said, in that age span you named, you got the blow up of internet porn. You got the blow up of we highly over sexualized. You know what I'm saying? Highly over sexualized, and I think that is definitely an issue. But I think with the fall of church, and I'm not a church person, but the fall of church, with the fall of I was teaching kids this summer, and it's more atheist kids than I ever thought it would be, because you're getting more from that. You're getting more kids that's you know what I mean? Like your grandmother went to church, even though your mother probably did. Your grandmother went to church, but now it's they get further and further away. People don't really rock with all that. And so I'm saying, what part of that is because the top with churches and these religious institutions is a moral code, and so this millennial thing is not it's to have a order, to have a structure that we abide by is our age group is allergic to all of that.
It's no,
and I think I don't agree with that. I believe that it don't have to be religious based. It don't definitely have to be religious based. But we have to have an order that we abide by. Even it has to be rules for how we date. It has to be rules for what we do. And you don't have to attach it to something high, but you have to say, no, it's not right for me to steal from you. It's so in our organization, it's not attached religiously, but men and women are not allowed to sleep around in our organization. If you are with somebody that you do not have intentions on being with, that's grounds for almost being kicked out of the organization, because it is contrary to the Black community. Because a lot of Black boys and girls that's in these classrooms now, how they got there is because of that type of relationship. Sex is not a game. It's not a game. It's not a game. It's the thing. When it's between men and women, it's the thing that science is going to do some stuff. But it's the thing that creates life. It's not a game. You know what I mean? So we can't use each other as if it's video games, it's entertainment, it's TV. It's something way deeper than that. It's spiritual. I believe all that, and so it has to be rules. So we in the Black community have to establish rules of engagement. It's like every other community got, whether it be Arabs, whether it be Chinese, whether it be Jews, they got rules of engagement. So it's not just a free for all. And the only reason it's a free for all in our community because we inside of America and white people is a free for all. But other sects of these people, they got rules, and they don't have to be traditional values. It can be rules that we think of, and we have to be thinking logically and not with emotions about what do I want to do in my life. Because when it comes to black people, it's bigger than you in your life. Our community needs people to follow rules. The reason the hood is the Wild Wild West is because the rules that people used to abide by, they don't abide by now. Where we can sell drugs to each other because I want, you know what I mean, what money? We can shoot people, we can shoot kids, we can shoot elderly, we can slap women, it's no rules. So we have to establish rules that we logically thought of, that we agree on, not based on what I want to do, but what's best for the whole. And what I think is best for the whole, this is my thoughts. And what we agreed in today is that we agree that it's not, if you're going to be part of this organization where it's men, it's women, we all on this path trying to do something for our community, what you're not going to do, man, is run through these women. What you're not going to do, woman, is run through these men. You're going to control yourself, and you're not going to be, and you're not going to be using people for your pleasure.
Like that right there.
So
and I know she have a different understanding, but I believe that right there, we need that, and I feel like that's why we have so many of these problems going on in our community now, because the free for all, like he just stated. And the thing that the problem, I mean, not the problem, but the beautiful thing is, me and him don't sit down and go back and forth and discuss these things, but I had the same understanding that our men have to make sure that our women are taken care of, and our women have to do the same thing, because that's why we are so out of order. This free for all thing that we have going on is leading to every other problem in our community, and it's the reason why we got so many families that's not together, because everybody want to sleep with everybody else. You know she married, and you still want to sleep with her. You know he got a family, and she still want to lay with him, because there's no morals, there's no rules, and everybody's laying around. But I'm gonna let because I know about the. I know her.
I am. So I'm coming. So even in the 18th century, when marriages were, just coming about, even back then, they were economic arrangements, right? So then, as time goes on, people started doing it because they love each other. And so now what we're seeing is this trend to where it's either becoming economical again, or people just are not doing it. So then this will be my question to you. Mm-hmm. Why or what has you believing that monogamy is the way? Because I don't necessarily believe that monogamy is the best way. And then why do you suppose that all people have to have the same lifestyle?
I'm talking exclusively only about black people. And what I believe about black people and looking at our issues is that when you look at our issues, whether it be fathers not in the home, whether it be mothers not in the home, whether it be, like you said, you get raised by stepdad because the first thing didn't work out. I believe that we have commitment issues, and I believe we need to commit to somebody. And I do believe it should be monogamous. I stand behind that. I do believe it should be monogamous because I believe that what monogamy does is forces men and women to discipline themselves. I think is that if I'm with a woman and the sex is good or she's beautiful,
you shouldn't be having sex
whatever
until you get married.
But that's the thing. It's how you look at marriage. Like my mother and father are not married. Like what I said, when you first asked me the question, this these words gotta be defined. When you first asked me the question, like when I first got in here, I was saying that lifelong commitments. I look at that as marriage, not necessarily what you call it. Right. My mother and my father are still together. Right. They're not married. You know what I mean? They're still together, and they up in age. They're gonna be together. You know what I mean? Creator willing, till I'm gone. You know what I mean? I look at that as marriage. I say that we need to do more of that because you grow up in a more stable environment when you're under that. Now, if you're going to, I don't necessarily agree with polygamy, but let's say it is a polygamous relationship. I agree. If you're going to do that, if that's what you're choosing, then have some arrangement, have some rules for that. What I don't agree with is the Netflix and chill culture. I won't agree with that. I won't agree with free for all stuff. I do believe that when you look at life in general, not just humans, life in general, it's order. It's order. And I don't believe in that we can create a organized community without organized relationships, where it's just like I sleep this person, I sleep that person, I go across the street, sleep this person. Like no, like I think
I think
a certain level of organization based on some rules that everybody agree upon, not based on I'm just going, you know what I mean? Just keep doing what I feel like.
But it's other things outside of relationships or just sexual beings, right? That are going to matter. So what it is that I'm choosing to do as far as that is concerned is probably one of the most minimal things that I'm talking about when I'm thinking about community and us uplifting each other. Not saying that we should all be able to go without commitment, because there should be things that you're committed to. But I just think that sometimes we get way caught up on some of the things that aren't really relevant. Because the problem is whether or not you accept it, whether or not you believe it, it's still going to occur. It's still going to be happening. You know, just like with the gays and homosexuals, it was already happening. It was just that we weren't able to have it out in the open. It wasn't socially acceptable. Now that things are changing, that's why you see people being who they are in the forefront, because they are allowed to do that.
But that's necessarily, I get what you're saying.
Inside the community that me and some people are creating based on what we believe is right for the community. It's not something. What outside of that, it's kind of like if you go to a company and they say you got to dress business professional at this company. Outside of this, you dress how you want to dress. But if you come into Tendale and you come into like there's a couple organizations, but you come into some organization, these are the rules, and if you look at these joints and say, yo, I'm with this, you know what I mean? Then you with it. But if you're not with it, then stay out there, because there's a lot of stuff we don't do. But when it comes to, I don't have necessarily, my big issue is not with when it comes to LGBTQ. But what I do recognize is a philosophy that goes with it. Now, the philosophy that goes with it, I have a problem with. Because inside the artsy community, especially inside Baltimore City, the artsy community, it's everything that anybody says do. It's the rejection of structure. Everything that anybody says we can't do this. We live in an age where if they say we can't, I'm going to step out and say we can. Who is anybody to tell me what I can't do? We're human beings. In organized entities, you have to make rules, a code of conduct to say, yo, what can be done, what can't be done. But inside of our community, every time anybody says, yo, we shouldn't do that, well, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? If we say, yo, we should wear clothes, you say, I'm not going to wear clothes. We say we shouldn't say these words, but I'm going to be the one to say these words just so I can say that I'm doing it. I don't agree. I'm about order. I'm about structure. The only reason I disagree with the white supremacist structure that exists is because it don't benefit us and it don't oppress us. But if it was a structure that did some good for us, and it said, yo, we can't smoke, we can't drink, we can't, because the people that set up our society said that this benefits us as a group if we don't do this, then I'm with it. I won't fight that. I'm not the type of youth that's attempting to fight order and structure. Like I'm saying, I used to smoke, I used to drink, until today I had a conversation and said, yo, how does drinking affect the black community? Is liquor stores on all our corners? How does it affect the black community? Should we do it? No. That's when I stopped drinking. I used to F around until we had a conversation about how does that affect the black community in a realistic sense, not how I personally feel what I want to do. How does it affect the black community? Is it working? No, it's not working. So that got to be stopped.
And I respect that.
And that's why we came to the conclusions. But if we believe that it is working, I don't see that.
My skills and ability be, instrumental to helping to grow Tendale. Just because.
But what skills and what do you mean?
If I possess certain skills and ability, but I have values or morals outside of what Tendale is built upon.
Well, that means that's not for you.
But our values and morals is built upon not how we feel. Our values and morals are built upon like I said, it's all measured about. We don't believe it's a neutral. We believe every action that black men and women do either benefits the black community or hurts the black community. We don't believe in a neutral. So if you decide tomorrow, you got a job, and you decide tomorrow, I'm not going to get up for work. We believe that action, that lazy action, is going to either help the black community or hurt the black community. So our morals, our code of value is not based off of some, you know what I mean, some pie in the sky thing. It's based off of what we believe benefits us the most. Like, for example, we offer me to come here. We got to work out. We work out on Mondays as a group. Most of us is vegan because we have dedicated our lives to the black community. We said, and what I do and don't do is measured by what benefits us most. So what benefits us most right now is for me to come on the station. You get what I'm saying? So I don't do what I necessarily want to do. I do what I believe, what we've decided based on study, based on research, based on what was done before, based on looking at stuff, looking at our environment, and say what benefits us the most. So drugs is outlawed, alcohol is outlawed, messing around is outlawed. It's a lot of stuff that's outlawed. Coming late to meetings is outlawed because it's people that be like, yo, I just free flow with it. But you can't come late to this meeting. No, you know what I'm saying? So I'm punctual. Like that's I believe that it has to be order. It has to be order to maximize the human being. It has to be order.
It's order and structure that I feel like as right now in 2018 and started into like the 2000s, a lot of order and structure have been taken out of the community, and it's like it gets worse every year, and it's like I feel like that's why so much things are going down the drain even more. Like if you're going to live this free for all type stuff, then we're going to suffer major consequences for the way that we're living. And it's like if you have, I don't understand how you don't like. If you have a whole population of people and nobody in it is living by order and structure, and everybody's just saying, every man just saying, I'm gonna go try to F every single woman I can F, and every woman is saying, I'm gonna go try to F every man
I think even still, like, I still think that we're missing a major thing, because I'm not just talking about just being able to, have sex with whoever wants you. Even though, if that's what you wanted to do, you are free and should just do that.
No, I'm not saying it's not free. I'm saying it has a lot of repercussions in it that a lot of people can't necessarily carry. You deal with a lot of young girls, and that's what you're and stuff like that.
Boys and girls.
You know what I'm saying? But you deal with. I'm not saying you're only limited to girls. I'm saying you deal with these girls. My organization deal with boys and girls as well. I have met so many young girls that are not even 21 yet that have 4 kids. She's not even 21. She don't have the proper understanding. She don't have the proper structure. She has 4 children, and when I talk to her and try to help her to go to school or get a job or get some type of structure around her, only thing she knew was almost like he said Netflix and chill. And I asked her, how did you get all these kids under 21? Oh, we was cool. We used to drink and smoke together. And nobody told them about condoms. Nobody told her, look, don't hit your friend. This one young, she got 4 kids, and it's all in the same little circle of the group. That's that free for all thinking. It's no teaching right there.
No. So I think that there's a whole lot more that's missing from right there. Just from it, I think that there's so much more that's missing. Because again, you can't expect them to teach themselves. They have to have some type of structure before
that's
then.
What I'm saying, though.
So not just amongst them in their group. Because that meant that something was happening within that family structure before she got
but
there.
That's what he was saying.
But it doesn't. But this is my thing. And again, to me, everything that we're talking about is just a simple form of social control. You don't have to be married in order to be structured. You don't have to. Anything about the education level. It's not changing anything about how I'm raising my children. It's not changing anything about that. It's just that my belief in relationships is a lot different. So getting back to
it though. You want to have some order to it? Like what's that word?
Polyamorous just means that you can love more than one. So when men have more than one wife, that's polygyny. When women have more than one husband, that's polyandry. And if we're going to have more than, it doesn't necessarily have to be wives or husbands, we consider polyandry.
So I just have a quick question, and not in a selfish or a self type way of thinking. You literally don't think if we live just strictly all that way, it would be negative to the environment and the community. You really know, and I'm not talking about just of how you would look at it in sense of how you live it. I'm saying as a culture, as a community, as a population, you really don't think that it's free for all, like people just doing everything is having no negative consequences on what's going on.
No, because it's the truth of the matter is you live your way, I'm going to live my way. It's already happening. It's going to continue to happen. Exactly.
So what you said, you're a minority, I'm a minority, but that doesn't mean it's right. And that's what I'm trying to say.
It doesn't mean the way that you're doing it is right either.
It's right is defined by what? You know what I mean? It's defined, it's measured by something. I'm talking about mine is measured by what benefits the black community and what hurts the black community. And by the looks of it, like I said, my thinking process, I'm a minority. So what I believe is that the thinking process is already happened. It's already happening.
You feel what you love. Major end all, empower community. And your beliefs or what you have learned, and you're just 23 years of being on this earth.
Yeah.
True, do you really believe or not that the Jewish community has more structure than our black community?
Yeah.
Point blank, period. Do you feel like they have more power, finances, and land and stuff over our black community?
Yeah. Because I believe, you said social control. I believe in social control. I believe in it. I sponsor it. But I do not agree with a social control that doesn't benefit that group. So like I said, the social control that we are under, I believe the thought process of free for allness is an American thought process that is given to our community, black community, and it's not practiced by the Jews, it's not practiced by the Chinese. They have a form of social control based on some book, based on some literature, and say this is what we do, this is what we don't do. And when kids growing up and say, hey, why do we believe this? They say, don't ask questions. This is what we're doing, and we've been doing it for 1,000 years, and it benefits us as a group. I'm with that. I'm with that, and I'm with that more so when it comes to, because America is capitalistic. And really, it's not really, we like to say it's individuals competing against individuals, but it's groups competing against groups. And like you were saying, I believe that the black human beings can be used better if our behavior is based upon rules, customs, traditions, and is based upon things that will benefit us in this worldwide competition. I think about 100 years from now is the behavior, the social behavior that black people have. If we can sustain ourselves in this changing world, like 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, I want to say that black people are going to be here. And not just be here on the bottom of the totem pole, as we are from most statistics, be here and we are prosperous and we're solidified and we're good. And I think there's certain behaviors that have to be picked up for that to happen.
I don't necessarily believe that they have to be controlled or ruled by anything in order to do that. Because one of the biggest issues that we have, and I say this to Wesley all the time, this is your vision, this is your mission, this is the thing that, you seek out to do.
Yeah.
But if I do not want to be saved, how will you save me? And if in the masses, within certain socioeconomic statuses, because I think that has a lot to do with what's actually happening, if that is in fact the case, if I don't want to be saved, Tendea can have the best mission statement to uplift black people and say, if I don't want to be saved, you can't save me. No matter what structure, what services, or anything like that. So when you
we don't try to. In fact, we want to, like, for example, like we said, we're doing community cleanups with people that use drugs. You know what I mean? I don't agree with drugs. I don't agree with drug selling. I don't agree with drug using. But when it comes to what we believe in, it's not we are attempting to do stuff for our people, whether they believe we believe or not. And if they don't want it to be done, we don't force anything. This is the thing. It's like people that are against structure in this philosophy, I believe it's an insecurity, whereas it's like people that come with structure as if we have any power. I have no power. Neither do Farrakhan, neither do the church people. They have no power. They have a church, and people that join the church agree to abide by that stuff. But it's that person in that church, that pastor, is not infringing upon anybody's freedom to choose. I'm saying now you have another option. You can choose not to do all that stuff and come join today. Like,
right. Okay, so back to the topic at hand. We're talking about relationships. And so I know that it's easy to just keep reverting to sexual things when it's much bigger than that. So when we're talking about millennials, they're saying that they're remaining unmarried through their 40s. They live together but put marriage off. So they're not interested in marriage. The social allure is lost, but people still do desire to be married at about 70% of the time. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit, about why people actually, want to get married. So when there's no solid economic foundation, like you are a poor guy or poor female, nobody wants to marry you. Because again, marriage is that form of social control that allows you to have that economic foundation.
I don't necessarily think that's true.
This is what literature is saying. So the lower your education, the lower your income, it reduces your likelihood to be married.
It might reduce it because you might can't financially. So we talk about marriage, and like he said, marriage is only an on paper thing. I know some people who are in urban communities, they've been together for 10 or 15 straight years, but they don't have the paper. But to me, that is a marriage. You've been with that woman or that man for 10 or 15 straight years. Economically, you might couldn't afford to do these marriages. I see people my age right now, they're on there blowing their brains out, trying to spend $50 and $60 and $70,000 on a wedding that they really don't have. Like, I'm watching them do it because it's like a competition of, oh, my homegirl had this big lavish wedding. I can't have no regular in the backyard wedding. No matter how much I love this man or woman, it's about that marriage, that connection, that bond. A lot of these women, they want the glam, the glory, the flashy, the light. So
and most of those marriages don't even last.
They might don't. But my point is, just because you don't have that paper behind you doesn't mean you're not married. And sometimes when we're going to calculate marriages, of course the numbers are going to be off because everybody might not go the route of getting that paperwork and that documentation of marriage. But I feel like some people who do have a wife, I know a lot of older dudes that's with the same woman and they say, my wife. But they don't necessarily have that
paperwork. They came out with the common law marriages. And
that's what I'm saying. But that right there is a marriage. But that's not on documentations. That's a percentage. It's a lot of reasons why they might didn't get married. It's some people that, like I said, they couldn't financially afford to even do the paperwork, or some people just didn't want to be on.
I mean, sometimes making a lot of people don't do it. And it was funny because the Caucasian woman said this: "I don't want the government in my business." And a lot of times when you become that institution of marriage, you invite a lot of things in.
And also, what I would say is that I can agree that that sometimes people avoid long-term commitments because of finances, and I think that this the idea of manhood, the idea of womanhood, like me, I definitely want to, especially as 16, 17, 18, I definitely want to be able to financially support my family, to be able to be dependable, because when you listen to Black households and listen to the issues mom and dad had, or why they broke up, sometimes it's because they didn't know each other from the jump, but also it's because finances sometimes. But it's just I didn't have
we won't get to that. The top 10 reasons. We won't
support the family that we're part of. So I do agree that could be a cause, but I do think also for men and women, we do have to get past that. Black men and women, we have to get past that and understand that we live in a society where it's hard for us to do stuff, hard for us to get up. And I think, especially if we want to live a free life, We want to build something of our own. That's going to take some time. It's going to take some commitment, and we need men and women being in companionship. From my perspective, men and women being in companionship to make that happen, and we both could be broke. I think, but we're gonna build it from the ground up. You know what I mean? Woman, man. We need to stick with each other.
A lot of people don't have that, but that right there, and that's the reason why I feel like I just literally watched somebody I've known for over 15 years. A man loved and adored, the right word is adored the ground she walked on. Wanted to provide, and he was trying to basically change anything and everything. She like, yo, what do you want? Financially, he had a good job, but he wasn't at the scale that she wanted to marry into or want to be with. This man adored the ground she walked on. I just sit and watch her go be with another man that she's barely not even attracted to, and he don't even he don't treat her the same way as the other man did. But guess what? He has more of. He has way more money and he has a bigger status. So his position he holds is higher than this other guy. The other guy was a regular working guy, but the other guy treated her way better. But
don't people do things because of status and money?
Yeah, but that's the point. That's what I'm saying. I feel like that's the reason why a lot of marriages aren't, working as well. Instead, because if you're gonna marry somebody, okay, I understand you want status and stuff, but this man had a good job, but it was a regular blue collar working job, and he adored her, bro, like literally.
But
the other man had more money and higher status, and he don't treat her nowhere near like the other man did.
The institution of marriage has always been an economical basis. It has always been since the 18th century. I just said that. So it's not surprising to me that she would go to look for money rather than love for marriage. Because even as we go on through these statistics, married people are considered the haves, while single people are considered the have-nots. So because with marriage comes a lot of the other things that the government is going to give you, the tax rates, the social status, the social safety net, and benefits for entitlement. There's a lot of stuff that comes from benefiting, a lot of benefits that come from being married, right? There's a whole lot of stuff that you get just from having that status.
There's a whole lot of devastation that comes from marrying somebody that you really wasn't in love with, because that divorce is big ugly. I watched another close friend of mine get divorced, and I watched his weight shred off of him like he was on drugs. I watched his hair fall out like he was an old man. I watched him lose his car. I watched her walk away with the house. I watched a lot of devastation happen to this man, and now he has to pay all these high bills and all that stuff. End up marrying somebody that you really weren't supposed to marry, but she tricked you and got you into marrying, and because he was in love. She wanted the finance. That's a trick.
Mm-hmm. Why people should marry? I'm going to be married one day. I'm not sure if it's going to be but it's going to be a ceremony. It's definitely going to be a ceremony. Not sure we're going to do a contract on that day. But what I won't necessarily marry for is Greco-Roman idea of love. I'm not going to marry because I love you. My mother and my father been together all this time, and my father don't say the word love. My mother be like, I love you, and she'd be like, do you love me? And he'd be like, I try to. And that's how I view love. I view love as duty. So I view love as I'm willing to carry out the duties for you, the obligations that we are agreeing that I'm gonna carry out, and you agree to do the same thing. And you seeing me hold that down, like for example, when you have a homeboy, you love your homeboy in that feeling you feel inside, but you feel a whole nother way about that homeboy when you see you getting jumped by 5 people and that homeboy jumped in and he did what he said he was going to do. When he said, "No, I got your back. I love you." You get what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. Is duty.
I like that.
So that's how I view love, and I view also that my purpose in life is to do something for the Black community, and so I also am going to marry you, going to be in relation to you if you agree that you are trying to do the same thing. But if I would never marry somebody that we don't see eye to eye on some certain things. So if you believe that, man, the world is universal, everybody's humans, this white, black, there's no difference. Beautiful opinion. You know what I mean? I won't marry you though, because how I view the world is we need to do something for these black babies, we need to do something for this black community, and we're both are going to give our lives to do that, not give our lives in a martyr sense, give our lives like minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. We're going to use our energy to do that. So I'm always going to have a companion in that sense. But I think a lot of times people don't even know the person that they're with. They don't know that person. They don't know what they think. They don't know what they believe. They don't have a mission for their life about where they want to go and where they're going. And so in the end of the day, you are with a companion that neither one of you can assist each other with your mission that you've dedicated your life to. I don't think that makes sense.
But a lot of times the missions don't match. So going back into, the government, some of the problems that they're saying when people are remaining single is that it alters marital status because now it's not, as glamorous. They can't really develop real policies around a lot of stuff. And the third thing is they have to focus on the single poor people. And again, like I was saying, they want they promote these marriages because, again, it's a form of social control, right? So the more people that they're saying are married and things like that, we want you to get married. We want you to do this. We want you to do that or whatever. And it's a way to control. And that's where they get these, when you go for like food stamps or something, those income guidelines and things like that. So that's what they're talking about. How can we control these people based on these things? So if they promote marriage, then they're better able to do those things. So me personally, I think it's a good thing if it works for you. But the way that I think about relationships in general don't necessarily have to be man and woman. It doesn't necessarily have to be one person or only two people. So we're just going to move on from that because we've talked about that quite a bit, and so we still have a lot that we're going to cover tonight. So marriage rates continue to decline, and divorce rates keep going up. Surprisingly, these things are happening amongst the older Americans, those 50 and above, and I think, again, that institution of marriage and, keeping that family together, there's no need for me to stay miserable in this relationship because I've raised my children, I'm probably, going to be retiring soon. So it's a lot of different reasons why I don't necessarily need that institution of marriage and staying together and things like that. So in 2015, for every 1,000 married adults, for people 50 and over, 10 couples got divorced. And 65 and older, and it's funny.
For every 1,000?
For every 1,000, 50 plus relationship, 10 were divorcing.
That's not bad.
It's not bad.
Out of 1,000?
Yeah.
And 10?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
But back in the day, you weren't getting divorced unless.
No, I know. Compared to back in the day, that might be bad. But if you gonna look at percentages,
I got another statistic for you.
Okay.
65 and older, the divorce rate tripled since 1990. 65 and older, maybe because people are living longer.
Mm-hmm.
But that whole phenomenon about, getting your grooves back and things like that, because marriages get stale.
I think there's a lot into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot into that. I think something that people, and the reason why I think is because I've spoken to some older women, some more, aged, fine wine women. They be like, their body might still operate. A lot of men, once they get to a certain age, because they didn't take care of their body, and that's why I'm big on my body. Like I'm big on what I eat.
That thing is going to
how I take care of my
That thing is on 60. I mean,
it's not.
nature is
No, it ain't about nature. It's about what you do in this world. It's about what you eat, how you treat yourself, how you treat your body. Like, you got people that stop working physically because they have never done anything to their bodies to continue that growth of that body. Your body don't just out of nowhere. Just people think you just out of nowhere just start breaking and withering away. At a certain age, yeah, but you can have a longer lifespan or a healthier body by how you live. Because I'm in a community where people eat a certain way, because I'm in a community where people work out, because I'm in a community where people take your health serious. I see 50-year-old men that can get out there. But what I'm saying, wait, I know 50-year-old men that can get out there and do just as much or more pull-ups than these 30-year-old men. They can do more running miles and riding their bikes around the lake or sit-ups and stuff because it's what they're doing to their body. It's like how you train your mind. If you train your mind with books and you train your body as well, it's about what you put in your body and what you put in your mind. So I feel like, a lot of people not taking care of their body the right way. Just like I see people that's 40 years old and they got so many illnesses and sicknesses and they withering away because, no disrespect, you're not doing the right things. Even to people in my family, I tell you, like, look, you're 40 years old. You shouldn't even be looking like that right now. It's what you are doing to yourself. And people not taking that seriously. You know what I'm saying? Especially in our culture. Like, we are eating a lot of the wrong things and putting it in our bodies, which is clogging up our pores, clogging up our digestive system, clogging up our arteries. And people don't know all you got to do. I watched somebody in my family get extremely sick, went to the doctors, and they literally told them, you had to change the way you are eating and how you live it. Changed her diet and what she was putting in her body. Within a year later, her health is drastically at a different level because of what she puts in her body and what she digests. So I think that's very important as well. What you was going to say?
I was going to say that also it's like, I think part of what you were saying, I think it depends on what are you sticking with the person for. I think, like, I would hope that the woman I'm with now would stick with me if I get hit by a car, if I got my joint cut off. It's not necessarily about sexual stuff. It's not. I think we live in an over-sexualized society. It's not necessarily about what I can do with my body necessarily, even though your body is definitely important. It's about who I am. Now, if it's who I am, the principles I live my life on, the things I'm going for, the things I'm committed to, why I'm committed to them, I think if I change that part, she would be out. You know what I mean? In the same essence, if she was like, yo, like, I just want to go travel the world, I just want to go just live in China somewhere for the rest of my life. It's just like we would have to part ways. I don't think people, in my opinion, with each other for the internal stuff. And I think people think it's even impossible to be with somebody for the internal stuff. So when they hear somebody say, I'm with this person for the internal stuff, they say, you're lying. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, that's the truth. And we need to strive towards more of that. Like, do you know this person? Do you love the essence of this person? And if you love the essence of this person, then I think that will stand the test of time. Right there, but if you don't, then I think, because it's like but if you don't love the essence of that person, then I believe that that all of the superficial things do matter. Because it's like, dang, yo, I never liked the essence of you, but like, dang, now you can't even have sex with me no more. Like, man, right there, no, that's that true. Becomes a big issue. No, it is, like, because I watch, and I'm gonna see if I can get him come on here because I don't know how much of his life and his story he would like to put out to a word. Older guy that I look up to. One of my mentors, he taught me everything I know about the housing and fixing houses. I watched him. When I first met him, I'm 32. I was probably about 21 years old. When I first met him, he was single, and he's at least 30 years old, right? So he probably was about 50 at the time. When I met him, he was a single man. He had women and everything.
in the relationship, stop, that we was in. I mean, not that we was in. He wasn't in a relationship. I watched him find a woman that he loved, but he was looking for her, and he didn't know where she was at. Randomly, he went to the market, and he seen her brother. And he asked her brother, like, where is such and such? And he was like, oh, you didn't hear? This and that is going on. He went to the house. When he went to the house, she had got some type of sickness. And she had lost her sight. And her body wasn't the same because she had got sick. For 9 straight years, I watched this man go into that and start and stop everything else he was doing with other women. And he asked her, why did you disappear on me? And she said, because when I got sick, I didn't think you would want me no more. I watched this man take care of this woman every single day, more than her own kids did, until she went in the ground. That right there meant so much to me because it wasn't about what she could do for him. It wasn't about how physically she could please him or what she was adding. He told me, like, Wesley, I love her. I've been looking for her. I didn't know why she up and disappeared. She left because she knew she had got sick, but she didn't have like strength and courage to tell him. She just disappeared. You know what I'm saying? But when she disappeared, she was being mistreated by her own, kids because they wasn't even loving her the way. I watch this man every single day take care of that woman. And I don't know a lot of men and women that would do what I watched that man do. He did that until her sickness eventually took her breath. He didn't go into her saying she got all this money. He didn't go into her saying, oh, her body is all this. And what he went into her was saying, before she got sick, I had loved her. But she didn't, she left. So what you just stated, that right there, we don't have a lot of that, brother. We don't have a lot of that. And I feel like that right there is another problem. We don't have a lot of people loving. And that's why I'm always big on. I'm saying you gotta love people for their mind, love people for what's inside of them, love people for who they are, instead of or be with somebody for their morals, their values, and what they stand on, instead of saying they got this, they want this and that. And that's why we crumbling. Because if a man can go out here and do what he did for that woman, then we can do more of that. But a lot of people don't. Man, let you go through something. They running away.
So one of my very seasoned people that I look up to, yes. So she's saying, these are some young thoughts, and marriage is a developmental process. It requires one to self-develop, know self, love self in order to love someone else. So 50 is still young, and in the environment kills. There are many things that limit ability, and this is not just about sex. Pleasure can be created in many ways. Develop a relationship, and you will develop intimacy.
I agree with that, but I always, she said it's some young thoughts, but ever since I have started to speak on this, I have always stated that intimacy is bigger than the physical part of a relationship, and for some reason it always get overlooked for me, and I've been preaching it for a long time. A relationship is bigger than everything being physical. But in my personal opinion, I feel like the term you use, over-sexualized, nowadays I feel like our culture is over-sexualized, and so much is big on what can somebody physically do for you. But I keep saying, if you learn somebody on an intimate level outside of just physically, I feel like you should be able to make them happy and you be happy. Because I feel like you shouldn't get no relationship if you're not happy with who you are as a man or woman first. So I've always said that as a man or woman, you should be happy with you. Secondly, I don't feel like you can make nobody else happy if you're not happy with your own self first. But like I keep saying, when I find the woman I'm going to be with, I want to love her on an intimate level outside of just saying she has this bad body. I can find 1,000, 1,000,000 bad body ones, but it's about me being able to love her inside out. So my relationship with her can grow and have that longevity, and we can grow together. I want a woman that can help me become a better man and help me grow just as well as I'm going to help her grow. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just out here saying, oh, I just want sex from her. But what I am saying is that's what I see out here in the community that's going on now with men and women, with older and younger. All you gotta do is go up and down your Facebook or your Instagram page, and you seeing 1,000 women posting their body parts just for a like or tap on you know what I'm saying?
Again,
Like,
as I keep
it's over sexualized.
as I keep saying, your attention, because when you are natural, when you are doing things in a wholesome manner, you get ignored, and it's just you're not getting anything out of that. So just living like that, it's a sacrifice, to what you may consider your own happiness. But in addition to things outside of what you two believe in, that LGBTQIA, whatever acronym for that, yeah, so it's more to the acronym. Some other things are happening. So people are dating outside and marrying outside of their own religious beliefs, and a lot of those doctrines speak against that kind of stuff. People are marrying outside of their political parties. It used to be that a Democrat would only marry a Democrat, etc. Because again, the way you think, the things that you believe are going to be a little different. Online relationships are way up. So it's up 11% from 2013. I think that's even higher now. 18 to 24-year-olds are doing that a lot more. At least up 27% from 2015. So when I see that, I'm trying to figure out what exactly is it that people are really looking for. If I can go to this online love, because the whole show Catfish, developed once that whole phenomenon came along or whatever. So it's a lot of things that are happening. The institution of marriage is considered to be outdated at this point. So people are starting to embrace new ideas about what romance and what family is and things like that. Therefore, those traditional things is not looked at as the same. Um, that whole marriage thing on paper and all that, it's really not common, especially not in their religion. They just have their ceremonies and they do whatever. So it I guess just really depends on what you believe. So people are better off with priorities other than marriage and children. That's a thought that people have. Outside of being married, outside of having children, I have other priorities. Those people who want to travel the world, people who want to get as much education as they can get. So there's a lot of different reasons people are rejecting this to move on. And I think it was like something like 9% of 18 to 24-year-olds said that they are not interested in ever being married. So I don't know. So again, I made the point about marriage being a form of social control. So one of the things that I really did appreciate from the article is that stop trying to force young people to conform to this outdated form of love or this outdated tradition. And I really do believe that. And again, it's all in what you believe. I just don't necessarily believe that it has to be one way, because there's so many of us. We can all do different things and things like that. So that's just my particular belief. So some of the marital options that this article listed were kind of intriguing to me. So you can, even if we are going to consider ourselves marriage, and I'm thinking that they're talking about that actual institutionalized where we get the marriage certificate, blah blah blah. We can live apart, co-parent only, have a short-term trial. So in some countries, they have contracts. Like we do this 2-year contract. If it doesn't happen to work out, we can move on. We can keep going. There was something that was a concept in 1960 called the beta marriage, and it's basically like a test drive. So it's kind of like that 2-year marriage thing or whatever. And again, as we talked several weeks ago, what is it that's happening within these situations prior to getting into these situations, whether it be long term, no matter what is actually happening prior to. And as Wesley and I stated, there are a lot of issues happening because we're not really getting to know each other. So long before, even though, that Wesley tell a story, he's going into the situation with the intent for this to be like long term. And to me, it may take a lot longer than just that, couple of weeks, couple of months, and things like that, because you just really don't know people. So what I put on to you the first time meeting you or whatever, depending on how much I'm trying to pursue you, may not be really who I am.
You're right. You don't know people, and I feel like sometimes people are moving too slow. I mean, not slow, too fast. I feel like you start to deal with somebody, and then a few weeks or a few months later, you already ready to have a baby and a child, but you haven't even learned that person, enough about them to even get that far. Sometimes I feel like you need that growth together to see. But again, that's just my perspective on it. And I look at things as, I know we talk about marriages right now, but the sense that you said millennials don't want to be forced into this box. Cool. I hear that a lot. But I know we only addressing marriages, but that's affecting millennials in every single area. Millennials don't want to be in a box at all. They don't have no respect that's what I'm saying. So I know exactly. So what you spoke on earlier, and I just wanted to bring that up because I know we only addressing marriages right now, but I want to look at the grand scope of things. Right now, millennials are rejecting order, period. And I know I fall under millennials, but I do not agree with that because they are completely rejecting all order. They're not respecting older folk at all. Millennials do not have no respect for the elderly at all. They don't have no guidelines. These young kids that's out here, they don't like. That's why women and kids getting bigger problem. That's what I'm saying. It's getting worse.
Yeah, it's probably not the millennials.
It's millennials too, but it's worse after the millennials.
Yeah.
What are after millennials called?
They have
baby boom. Who's
no,
they before. I need to know what the
Generation Z is a new one, so they call them,
whatever this new generation is. They are the breaks. Like seriously, they literally don't want no structure at all. And that's what I don't agree with. And like I said, I know we talk about marriages, but like you said earlier, like it gotta be, in my personal opinion, some type of order, some type of structure, some type of set of rules, because if not, then you're gonna have a lawless world of people walking around doing any and everything. We saying, oh, don't put us in this box, but people don't understand what that mindset creates. Because if you want to create a mindset of young generations coming up saying, don't put us into this box, well, now that's why there's no order nowhere. It's no order in the people who live in regular lives, and it's daggone sure no order in the people who live in the streets. That's why you got babies getting killed. That's why you got old women and old men getting robbed. Back in the day, you wasn't allowed to do so much stuff that these kids are doing out here to elderly and kids. But guess what? This newer generation, they don't abide by those rules. So, like we were saying, like of course it's going to affect their marriages. Yeah, it's people getting married for financial gain. A lot of them, people getting married because it's a fad, and some of them are getting married because they may be pressured into it. I think there's a very small percentage of people who get married that's really marrying for a real situation that you know is going to really be something that's meaningful inside of them. Go ahead.
The anti-structure, anti-order thing to me is a result of this American lifestyle, and I think, like I said, the media, everything in America right now is promoting. Don't let somebody force you to do anything, and I think it's wild because I think people being forced to do anything. I'm focusing on the black community. Is that like your father not forcing you to do nothing, your mother's not forcing you to do nothing. Like people is really doing what they want, and so I think if we want to see the results of that mindset, of that way of life, we just gotta look at the black community. Because when you talk to black people, like I said, being a minority, we talk to black people. the millennials, they want to do what they want, and not only do they want to do what they want, they're doing what they want. So it's like it's no one's being forced you to do anything. But when it comes to the marriage thing, I think that people, I believe that people should be consistent with people. I do believe that people should make these bonds, and I think that relationships. You talk about social control. I think the Black community relationships should be guided. I think when you talk about social control, that's a European, Americanized white concept. I think that in order, there's always control, whether it be people that's controlling, whether it be this holy book controlling you, whether it be you go to your job, it's the handbook that's controlling you. Something is controlling your behavior. And if it benefits this people group, then I'm with that. So when it comes back to the organization, we force people that if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody else, we force people to get to know each other. And so sometimes we may agree, we may say, yo, this person has a lot of trauma, meaning this person was raped, or, you know what I mean, touched or something like that, or you grew up without your mother, so you got this anger towards women, so y'all can't have sex. Y'all had to have this courting process for a year before y'all do something. Now that's a form of social control, but like I said, when people come into it, it's not control when you agree to it. When you say, yo, I'll come into this, and I know this is everything that's in there entails, like, because people do end up in relationships with people that they don't necessarily know. And sometimes your mom be telling you, or your father be telling you, you don't know that boy, you don't know that girl. But we live in the age of I'm going to do what I want. So when it comes to organizations, or when it comes to institutions, we do need somebody to say, I'm not infatuated with the person you're infatuated with. So I'm on the outside looking in, I'm interviewing you, and I'm telling you, you don't know this person. And your relationship is going to crash and burn. So this is what I recommend. I recommend y'all wait a year and a half. Now, if y'all choose not to do that, is that grounds for getting kicked out of the organization? No. But I'm saying, now when it crashes and burns, like, at least you knew that, yo, you could have waited. You need to get into an intimacy thing where I'm going to spend a long time getting to know this person and being friends and tight with this person before we take it to another level.
So the thing is I don't know that there's really any formula that's ever going to be the one that makes any of these things successful, because you have individuals. So I don't care if we dated, because we have people again who are dating for 10 years and they still don't even, have, that most healthy or the most optimal situation. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that it's really any number that we can put to anything, because, people change, feelings change. Again, like I made the point, what I liked when I was 24 may not be the same thing that I like when I'm 35. So and whether that's a relationship, whether it's work, whether, whatever, it's all part of an evolutionary process with individuals. So, not that I have a problem with control or rules or anything like that, because there's a lot of things in my life that are governed by just that. So, I don't have a problem with it, even as a millennial, and I don't even like to call myself.
So I want to, because you knew, me, before I even, elevated, we once
I didn't know those things about you. You changed how I look at you.
No, I'm talking about like how we, when I used to work.
Yeah, I didn't know those things about you.
What things?
That you were, in that group that was sleeping around.
Oh.
I didn't know that, but
I can't answer the question, man. I'm not today. Well, now knowing that, so, all right, I just want to use myself as an example, because this is what I run into a lot, and this is why I feel like a lot of things need to be changed and addressed, and I feel like you said, we're minorities in this world right now, which we're living in because of the way we think. So when I was out here just doing me, it wasn't a problem. No, it was like I could sleep with whoever, I could do with whatever, and even though the women knew I was sleeping with whoever, they still wanted. You knocking down 10 joints, you knock down a homegirl, you knock down the person that she worked with, she see every day, they still want you. Now, because of where my mind is and how I'm elevated, when I put this message to women, or when I tell them the path that I'm on, they look at me strange. They trying to give me the vagina as soon as they meet me. And I'm not into that anymore. And when I tell them, like, yo, I don't even know you, then they taking it offensively. And this is women, they said it's a young thought. No, this is women that are older than me. This is women that are my same age. This is women that are younger than me. And it's like, soon as you meet them, go out on a date real quick or something, or do something small, you can already have sex with them. Like, seriously. And I'm not at that point nowhere where as though I'm just trying to sleep with everything. So when it's like, I'm trying to actually get to know you as a woman and as a person inside out before I insert myself in you, then it's like, they taking it back, like
because
and that's what's
outside of it's outside of what has become known to be normal.
But that's what I'm trying to say, like. But that's what I'm saying, like. What we in a society where as though is you can do so little, but get so much from a woman. But when you set standards at a different point, they looking at you like, oh, nigga, you think you stuck up. Or you think you better, or you think you, and I'm looking at you like, yo, I am not even saying that to you. That's not what I'm trying to say or show or portray or teach. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I want to get to know you first. And I want you to know me. What do you know about me? What do you like about me? What do you think need to get addressed or changed before we lay down in this bed and exchange energy? What is it that you really know about me? You feel what I'm saying? Like, I know women that only know your nickname. They don't even know your real name, and they want you to smash.
Okay, but again, I'm going to assume it's all about what it is that you want from this, right? So when you're going into the situation, you're going into, oh, we're going to have this long, meaningful commitment or whatever. It could be that I just want to have sex with you. I
understand what I'm saying. Why is it such a great and large percentage of those type situations out here?
Not just that it's promoted, but again, if I'm not running into a guy like you, look at all of the things that you have to come up to, because it's just like, why? If I already know that I'm not getting from this man this long-term commitment, this, all these, lovey-dovey things, right? People know that. And that's why people are rejecting these situations, because it could be that I run into you or not you, because again, you're both minorities.
We are.
So, when it's the majority that all you are worth is that hit and run.
But I'm saying that's what we are, the understanding and the message that we trying to put out is just that. Like, yo, you're worth more than that. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of living. It's a way of being. And it's like, if you are going to conform to that, then that's why we have such, great disparity amongst our community of so much brokenness. And that's why I keep trying to say, if we don't shift a little from this way of thinking and way of life, then we're going to have all these problems. I had this one young lady that is a friend of mine. I started out dating her. And when I met her to date her, right? And in the midst of me dating her, she was dating other men. Cool. I'm not sleeping with you, so I don't care. Listen, while I'm dating her, one day she's like mad down and depressed and like upset. And I'm like, what's wrong? She couldn't bring herself to tell me what was wrong because she thought I was going to judge her. So I told her, I said, look, that's what I mean about getting to know Wesley. Because if you need to be able to talk to me, because I'm not going to judge you. I can help you through whatever's wrong. So after I spoke to her, she was like, all right, besides hanging out with you, I hang out with 4 other guys. I said, okay. She said, I was sleeping with 3 out of 5 of y'all. I said, okay. She said, well, what just happened to me last night devastated me. I said, what happened? She went on this rant. She said, I just feel like when men talk like women. Y'all just talk too much. I'm like, men talk is what women do, but okay, what's wrong? So she's like, one guy I was sleeping with, he was sleeping with her, and That's all it was. Another guy she was sleeping with, he had a girlfriend and everything, and she knew about it, but it was just a sex thing for them. So she didn't know they knew each other. They didn't know they knew her. So she went to a function, right? And out at this function, she seen them posted up on the wall, chilling, laughing and joking, and she come walking in. So in the midst of them seeing her, not knowing they both are sleeping with her, one of the dudes go and he spills out the beans to the other bull. Other bull looking like, huh? Yo, I'm hitting her too. In that small little section right there, she walked in and her whole eyes was big and she's looking foolish. They confronted her, called her out on. She's hurt, but her mind frame was
White tell.
exactly. Men just talk too much. Y'all run your mouth. Y'all this. And my thing was, I said, look.
On the other foot.
No, let me tell you something.
No,
she was
exactly.
Let me exactly. Exactly. Because let me tell you something. I don't want to hear the men talk like girls. Because I'm gonna tell you something. As a grown man, our group chats jam off and jump off just like y'all do. So when women thinking they being slick and they want to be laying up, guess what? These dudes out here got 5 different men in their group chats, 7 different men in their group chats. Some of them got 12 different men that they homeboys that they grew up with. They got pictures come flying in there. Yo, I hit this shorty last night. She was fat as SHIT, and they send a picture in it. Sometimes the face might even be in it. So while you just laying around with somebody and just being silly and not thinking about your body and your mind, somebody else not thinking about it.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying.
You have to be okay with it. If that's what you're doing, and that's a problem. That was her problem. Don't try to be part of something that you're really not ready to deal with what comes next.
And that's exactly what I told her.
And and that's
some people lifestyles. They're in that lifestyle, living that lifestyle, and I don't think that everybody's happy in that lifestyle. And so I think people gotta be out here offering other options, saying, yo, your lifestyle, if this is your lifestyle and effing around is your lifestyle, one is hurting other people, it may be hurting other people. And the other thing is, if it's not even making you happy, then let me offer you this other lifestyle.
Or it could
not
be
doing that.
It could be that society is going to make you feel a certain way, even if it's what you think is making you happy. If you're condemned for that behavior, then that's making you question what it is that you really like. But the time is now 9:00.
Oh, John?
Yes, this has been really good, so it hasn't been as pumped and lively as we we usually have to be, but it's okay. So I think we've discussed a lot of things that really do matter as far as relationships are concerned and things of that nature. So we're going to continue because I do want to talk about why people are getting divorced. I think it is a lot of statistics and things like that we can continue with next. So we're going to be back next week. We're going to continue our discussion on relationships and statuses. So if you could, make sure you come back. It for us tonight. Join us next week, 7 to 9, Open Wide with me. My co-host, Mr. Wesley Hawkins.
We'll see y'all next week. Next Monday. Let's get it.
All right.
Oh, earlier.